Let's go.
Hey, this world premiere right here.
Buried me with the greats. And I'm talking about Bible terms. Yeah. Look.
Turn down some.
Said it's about to go down. It's a showdown. Prepare now for war now. 113, this the last round. No call now. They calling people, I won't answer. Rather go sit in that jail, burn away like I got cancer. Looking at me, yeah, I got the answer. Y'all got us people just know we gon' manage. Make it out of this situation, regardless of what they do and say. Just know that we moving at y'all space. Hey, it keep me safe. I'ma keep maintaining the same. I'ma walk in this lane, talking this grace. Get it through your brain. Tripping on me, no, we not the same. Y'all got us people, you must be insane. If you think you touching me, if you think you touching me, if you think you touching me, you must be insane. Listen your brain if you really think you touching me. If you really think you touching me, I got the strength of Elijah, calling on Samson. Let me wake up King David. I got the strength of Moses. I got the strength of Yahshua, and it's over. Tell the rest I am a soldier. I got the strength of Yah. I got the strength of Yah. I got the strength of Yah. I got the armor of Yah. If you think you touching me, 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 I got the strength of my ancestors, strength of my ancestors, strength of the prophet. Wait, I got the strength of my ancestors. Whoa, got the strength of the prophets. It's over. Yeah. Psalms 50 and 15. And call on me in your day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you will honor me. I got the strength of, Yahuda. I got the strength of, Yahuda. Yeah.
Praise God, give glory today. We woke up. And it's an amazing day because all this is going on throughout the world, man. So there's a lot going on, right? I'm gonna label this the 400-year prophecy. Hey, for those who said no, for those who said, oh, your 400-year prophecy is a joke, the world is paying right now. God's gonna bring them to your feet and they will say, we're sorry, right? So I got this just jumbled and we're gonna get into all this. All right, so 400 years, right? Look at my people. Y'all see my people, man. It's sad. Got this on here. I'm not gonna read it to show that 400 years, they have time marked it, right? They have stamped this and said it's been 400 years. Not only them, your old President Trump did it. So everyone is stamp marked and said the 400 years is here, right? We have reached 400 years, and that was like 2 to 3 years ago. So everybody was like, oh, it ain't happened yet. Now what? Now what? You know, but you know, with y'all, we're not on our time. We on y'all time. He's seen the blood being spilled. Now it's time for us to sit back and watch the master work. Because, boy, it's about to get bad. It's about to get bad. It's getting bad. The whole world is under judgment right now, right? And it's getting so bad to where they can't hide it no more. It's everywhere. All right. So this is Genesis 15:13. I know y'all can't see my screen. I didn't know I'd be sharing it. And he said unto Abraham, to who? Abraham, know of a surety that your seed, whose seed? Thy seed, his seed, shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them and afflict them for 400 years. So a lot of people go, oh yeah, that 400-year captivity y'all talking about, now what? Now what? Now what about that 400-year captivity? Now I ask them, now what? Tables is turned. Now what? All right, so you had a conversation with Abraham, all right, 400 years, and also the nation whom they shall serve, the nation And also the nation, this is one group. So we were scattered upon all the Europeans. They are a nation. Esau is one nation. Whom they serve will I judge. And afterwards shall they come out with great substance. So when everybody's running around, my ancestors did that. I didn't play a part. I had nothing to do with that. I did nothing. Nation. Christ Jesus can be saved. Oh, Gentiles, nation. Nationwide is on your, whom they serve will he judge. 16, but in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again. What does that mean? They shall return back to him, right? For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet been fulfilled. So we're going to turn back after the 400 years. We're going to turn back and we're going to start worshiping him again. We're going to turn back to who he truly is in the fourth generation. They shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet filled. So this doesn't mean immediately he's going to save us because the Amorites is not yet filled. There's more that's got to happen. So after the 400 years, the Amorites is not yet filled. But we have turned because we are the fourth generation. 400 years. Fourth generation, 400 years, fourth generation. They will come hither again. We would turn back. 17. And it comes to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoky furnace and a burning lamp passed between those pieces. 18. On the same day, the master Yah, we call him, you call him Lord, the master made a covenant with Abram, saying unto the seed, unto thy seed, I have thy seed. Whose seed? His seed. Abraham's seed. Not we're Gentiles, so we're grafted in. No, you're not the seed. It's a bloodline. Unto the seed, unto Abraham's seed, unto thy seed, I have given this land, not to everyone, but unto Abraham's seed, from the rivers of Egypt, that's ours, unto the great rivers, people call it Euphrates, the 400-year prophecy. But anyway, I'm gonna play this coon of a person. Genesis 15:13. We hitting Bible verse early, y'all. Praise y'all for the Bible verses. Psalms. This is Psalms 50 and 15. And call on me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you and you will honor me. No greater feeling, bro. We ain't got nothing to worry about. I keep telling y'all that. We talking about Jacob's trouble. Jacob's is, I think it's gone, bro. I think this thing could break loose any day now. I really think we living in the end. I think this is it. I think those who want to keep pushing it back is because they're doing wicked and they're trying to get their wickedness in order. We don't have time. Ephesians 1:19. And what is the exceeding greatness of the power of his power to us towards who believe, according to the working of his mighty power. Beautiful. So let's play this. This is gonna make you mad. This really is. This is why they bring people like this. This is the narrative they push. Should the U.S. pay reparations to black citizens for slavery? First of all, not just the U.S. Everyone did this. Everyone is going to pay. But see, they don't have enough to pay. And y'all even said it. He said, speedily and quickly without turning back on their head if they tried to repay me. His ultimate goal is to destroy. You remember Moses? He said, I got one more for him. I'm going to put it on his heart not to accept this. Dude was ready to let go. He's like, I'm done. He said, nah, nope. I'm going to kill y'all for what y'all did. The nations better be afraid. Let's play this coon.
Against the idea of reparations, you said paying reparations to descendants of slavery would, quote, only divide the country further. And you thought it would insult black Americans by putting a price on the suffering as well, and would make black Americans like yourself victims without their consent. I hope I captured that correctly, but you take it further. Make your case against.
Make your case.
So let me just make a distinction off the bat. I support reparations for redlining, right? Because there are many victims of redlining that are still with us. They're still alive. And Cornell, all the examples of successful reparations for other groups that you highlighted were examples of reparations given to directly the victims of these human rights abuses in their lifetimes or their immediate family members. That's why I support reparations for redlining paid directly to the victims, as they're doing in Evanston outside of Chicago. I make a distinction between that and reparations for slavery, which ended in 1865. I know of no examples where groups are getting reparations for historical crimes that are over 150 years old.
Wait a minute, we still enslaved. Boy, this is why 2/3 of us, I believe, is gonna perish, because, well, we are crazy. He said it ended, and he's shaking his head like he agreed with him. These two coons, man, dress them up, give them a fancy little sports car, cut their hair up, move them out the hood, and this is what you get.
And unfortunately, the opportunity was tragically missed to pay it to the slaves themselves or their immediate families. But claims like this time out, right? And this is timed out. And let me say one more thing.
Times out.
Martin Luther King had a plan for addressing the legacy of slavery, which he laid out in his book, Why We Can't Wait. And he called it the Bill of Rights for the Disadvantaged.
Martin Luther King wrote
the
a
Bill
book.
of Rights for the Disadvantaged was not a race-based policy. It was a class-based anti-poverty program that would benefit the black poor and the white poor and the poor of all races. That's what I support in terms of addressing the legacy of slavery. That's what I feel is the wisest path forward for this country.
Let me follow up a little bit, Coleman, because it is interesting that there are some forms of specific areas where you believe a reparation of sorts should be put there. What how do you distinguish Jim Crow? And what is the right amount of time? And I say that Germany is still paying reparations to now descendants of Holocaust victims. So what is the timeline where you
Jewish
feel like
people,
where you would draw the line?
So I think reasonable people can disagree on this, and I don't claim to have the last word on the subject, but I think we can all agree reparations should be paid ideally in the lifetime of the victim.
No.
If the victim dies, it should be paid to their spouse or to their children.
Destroy people.
Once you get to grandchildren
But he just
and
said
beyond,
spouse.
my personal view is that that's beyond my line. But like I said, reasonable people can disagree on this, but there's no doubt that, in my view, crimes from the 1850s and 60s are beyond the statute of limitations.
Can't even stand. Look at this.
Do you see
man.
this where services can sort of be the...
They tried to get me, y'all. I can't even stand. Look at that nut. Like the what? And then they do stuff like this. They do stuff like this, and the Bible says that they gonna come and worship your feet. They're gonna say, surely we have inherited lives, but they do stuff like this where they pay you tribute, or they give you, what is that, Juneteenth, but never give you $1. Oh man.
Pay tribute to the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. The evil enterprise of enslavement lasted for over 400 years. Millions of African children, women and men were trafficked across the Atlantic, ripped from their families.
Listen again, he just said the 400-year mark. They letting you know it's been 400 years.
And homelands, their communities torn apart, their bodies commodified, their humanity denied. The history of slavery is a history of suffering and barbarity that shows humanity at its worst. But it's also a history of awe-inspiring courage that shows human beings at their best, starting with enslaved people who rose up against impossible odds and extending to the abolitionists who spoke out against this atrocious crime.
Fair use.
The legacy of the transatlantic slave trade haunts us to this day. We can draw a straight line from the centuries of colonial exploitation to the social and economic inequalities of today. And we can recognize the racist tropes popularized to rationalize the inhumanity of the slave trade in the white supremacist.
He talk better than the dang black dude, don't he? Bruh, come on, bruh. He talk better than the black man, ain't? He sympathize with us more than the black man. What? Come, bruh. What? It's
state that is resurgent today. It is incumbent on us all to fight slavery's legacy of racism. The most powerful weapon in our arsenal is education, the theme of this year's commemoration. By teaching the history of slavery, we help to guard against humanity's most vicious impulses. By studying the assumptions and beliefs that allowed the practice to flourish for centuries, we unmask the racism of our own time. And by honoring the victims of slavery, we restore some measure of dignity to those who were so mercilessly stripped of it. Today and every day, let us stand united against racism and together build a world in which everyone, everywhere, can live lives of liberty, dignity, and human rights.
He say that, but show me where the action is went forth. I ain't seen it, so let's look at this. This is 6 months ago. This is fairly new. This is 6 months ago. Views. But as this world continue to go to hell, they're going to start saying we're sorry. See, a national day for remembrance of victims of Atlanta's slave trade. You see how they talking now? But there's no 400 years. Clearly, the United Nations
Tragedies in human history are so monstrous and of such magnitude.
6 months also. But what's funny is they ain't let black people know this was going on. Nobody informed black people to tune in because they're talking to their people. Look at the look on his face. This man looks sad. He looks shook enough to even report this with his bean hair. Look at that head, bro.
That we resolve to commemorate the victims every year, to show them the respect.
To show them respect, but they ain't did nothing. We still over here going through hell. Everybody think America's just rich. Take a drive through Chicago hood. Take a drive through California's hood. Take a drive through New York's hood. Go anywhere, Martin Luther King Boulevard, and you gonna see hood. Go to Memphis. They will lock their car doors. Man, come on, bro. This is funny. This is their way of apologizing, and nobody's apologizing. They putting it all on YouTube, hiding it. The news ain't covering any of this. Ain't no, we're really sorry. Ain't no, hey, we're going to do better by you. Ain't no giving us anything. But y'all said this was going to happen because in the end, he will revenge us.
That was denied to them in their lifetimes, and to ensure that this will never happen again. Today, we remember over 50 million African women, men, and children.
50 million people. And it was more. It was way more.
Who suffered the horror of enslavement and the transatlantic slave trade over a period of 400 years. We honor the resilience of those who endured and pay tribute to the memory of those who lost their lives. This year's observance, which takes place as we commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, reminds us that despite years of work, racism, the ideology and harm that underpinned the transatlantic slave trade, is still with us. Racism marks out some people for lower quality services, for fewer opportunities, and pervasive, corrosive contempt. Racism brings exclusion, discrimination, hatred, and conflict. And those who endure this racism, even today, are often descendants of those who suffered enslavement in the past.
Black people.
Last month, I undertook a visit to Haiti, a small country that played...
You took a visit to Haiti. Now, if you remember my video, Let Them Go, what they
a mass
did
of humanity hoping for some in return. In the
what
shadow of
they
a
did.
devastating earthquake and the assassination of their president, thousands of would-be asylum seekers flee Haiti to take their chances up north.
If I'm deported now, I'll die in Haiti. There's no security, there are thieves. There's a civil war every day because there's no leadership.
Many have ended up in this makeshift camp under a bridge connecting the Texan city of Del Rio to Mexico's Ciudad Acuña. The US government has supplied water, toilets and other resources, but the scene remains desperate. While waiting to be processed, men, women and children use sheets, blankets, even plants to shelter from temperatures nearing 40 degrees. As some try to bring in supplies, they're chased away by border officers on horseback. It signals the start of what could be America's swiftest mass expulsion in decades by blocking part of the border and forcing thousands from the camp into detention centres.
Over the last 2 days, we have moved approximately 3,300 individuals. We expect that number to increase in the days ahead. we are working with source and transit countries to accept migrants who previously resided in those countries.
Who previously resided, so none of them. But I think God did it on purpose. Because this was the last push to see would they stand up. Are they sorry for what they did? And the Bible said they repented not. Game on.
Played an immense role in ending the transatlantic slave trade. At one point, Haiti represented 1/3 of the transatlantic trade in
It still
enslaved
does.
Africans. It was also the location of the first massive revolt by enslaved people, demanding their fundamental rights as human beings. Toussaint Louverture, who was born a captive, enslaved from birth, led thousands of men and women in revolution and won independence for his people, a remarkable achievement at the time. Haiti is poor today, and its people suffer deeply from inequalities, from underdevelopment, and horrific gang violence. Many of these structural issues have roots in the exploitation and vicious harms perpetrated over generations during slavery. But the people of Haiti are rich in culture, in creativity, in ingenuity,
Ain't that what the Bible
courage,
said?
and in pride.
Ain't that what the Bible said? But thou art rich. Right? Right? I will make those that are of the synagogues of Satan, which say they are Jews, but are not, but you are rich. You, Israel.
The history of slavery is a terrible reminder of inhuman suffering, injustice, and loss. But it is also the story of a victorious struggle against oppression and for freedom, a quest to fulfill our universal.
Haiti, I think, is even Bible prophecy.
Four centuries ago, a privately owned English vessel named the White Lion sailed these waters carrying human cargo to
They lying. It was called the Good Ship Jesus, the Mayweather, and it might have been the White Lion.
trade for food and supplies.
They lying.
The ship came up the Chesapeake Bay and it landed here at Point Comfort in the latter part of August of 1619. And on that ship
like
were
Jesse
20 and
Jackson.
odd Africans.
Boy.
Founder of Project 1619, Calvin Pearson, walks the grounds of today's Fort Monroe in Hampton, Virginia.
Crazy,
On
right?
this strip of land called Port Comfort then, the first enslaved Africans landed in colonial Virginia. It marked the beginning of an odyssey of millions of Africans being brought to America as slaves for more than 200 years.
The first Africans who were brought here were destined for a life of servitude. They had to work the plantations from sunup to sunset, the tobacco fields, the corn fields. They had to work these fields with no hope of ever being free.
It makes me feel goosebumps and a sad nostalgia.
Historian Bill Wiggins says the first captured Africans had no legal status until the Virginia colony formally legalized lifelong slavery in 1661.
I just can imagine the sailing into the bay of these chained individuals in a strange land, not knowing anything about where they were.
And that's what the Bible said. That's Deuteronomy right there, boy. You will be a stranger in a land, right? That is not yours. You will not know what they're speaking. You won't know anything. You will be sold as bondman and bondwomen. Come on, man.
Being taken off of the vessel and told you're going to work here, you're going to live here.
And not even being able to understand them. Not knowing nothing they saying, but they talking. You just a blah, 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 blah. You don't know none of what they saying. Right?
Evidence from scarce records indicates more than 24 Africans were aboard the White Lion. Weeks earlier, the Africans were forcibly taken from a Portuguese slave ship heading to Mexico.
These were free people. who had been kidnapped as free people and sold into slavery.
Two enslaved
did to God,
Africans
for
named
what we
Anthony
did.
and Isabella, likely from Angola and baptized Catholic, were taken off the White Lion when it reached the shores of Port Comfort.
These are the sacred land of our ancestors. And when I walk this land, I think about Anthony and Isabella. I think about what were they thinking about getting off a ship in a strange land?
Afraid. I don't think they was thinking. How can you think? Now this one, here we go. It's got 2.77 million. Oh, so they got, dang. They got almost 3 million subscribers. They almost at 3 million subscribers. I'm sure this ain't been upgraded either. I'm sure it's a lot more. It's still going on. Dang. They keeping it pretty. It's way more than this. It look way worse than this. Like they going through it and they trying to make it look pretty. See how they mood change? Dang, that was a big building.
Look at the people's doors.
Dang, bro. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did y'all see that? Listen to the screams. Listen to the agony of this.
Look at the people's doors. Oh my God.
We was just seeing that.
Estaba con un amigo. ¡Qué angustia!
转移住户，帮助被困群众撤离。据总台记者，
开始的持续强降雨影响，四川南充市高坪区罗溪河水位。
Whoa, they whole spot wet. Oh, that's rain.
We do begin tonight with the catastrophic flooding in the north of rain in just hours.
Look at that.
The city's still away. Tonight, a short.
Too dangerous for rescue by boat.
It's too dangerous to be rescued by boats. Oh. All right, let's see this.
Northeast, we've been seeing extreme weather coast to coast. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagen takes a closer look at what's going on and what's ahead.
Welcome to Weather Extra on CBS News Bay Area. I'm KPIX5 meteorologist Paul Hagen. This is the space where we get a little nerdy. We take a deeper dive into some weather and climate topics and even globally, and then talk. We'll start close to home. There's some triple-digit temperatures for inland parts of the Bay Area, but farther inland, temperatures are ranging in the 110 to 115 range on a widespread basis, especially in the San Joaquin Valley. And we're talking about some extreme temperatures elsewhere, close to 115 degrees in Las Vegas, approaching 120 in Phoenix. Death Valley getting up close to 130 degrees. When those spots that are already normally hot are abnormally hot, that tells you this is an unusual event. And while the heat has backed down around the Bay Area, it is not going to do so for other parts of the state, especially in the San Joaquin Valley and other parts of the region. The desert Southwest is just going to be cooking under this heat dome for the next 7 to 10 days at least. This has the fingerprints of climate change all over it. We can categorize that with what's called the...
See, once again, they're calling it climate change. Everyone but Yah.
Climate Shift Index. This is something that Climate Central came up with to quantify how much more likely an extreme weather event becomes due to the influence of climate change. And for this particular heat event, especially in the San Joaquin Valley, parts of Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, certainly Texas, and then down to New Mexico, those Climate Shift Index values are around a 4 or a 5, meaning that this type of extreme heat is 4 to 5 times more likely because of the influence of climate change. Variabilities happen all the time, but climate change is the heavy foot on the accelerator. It's certainly not the only extreme event that we have seen. We've been tracking that Canadian wildfire smoke throughout the summer. Another batch of that smoke been blowing down over the last several days across the prairie provinces of Canada and into the northern United States, prompting more air quality alerts for the northern part of the country. All of that has avoided the Bay Area, but other parts of the United States have certainly been dealing with frequent air quality alerts and a lot of issues in that regard. We've also seen some extremes on the other side of the equation. Too much water in a short amount of time. Recently, we had extreme flooding in the Hudson Valley of New York, also extended up into Vermont. This type of flooding, not something that the Granite State sees very often, but these types of extremes on both sides of the spectrum, whether it's extreme temperatures, extreme precipitation, become more likely because of the influence of climate change. And something that we've especially seen just within the past couple of decades, the number of extreme events has really just skyrocketed, and it's because our temperatures have been going up and up as carbon dioxide levels and other greenhouse gases have been going up and up as well. But it's not just something that happens in the atmosphere. We've also been seeing the impact in our oceans. Close to the coast, the coastal waters off of Florida have been extremely warm, bathtub warm. Key West recently set a record by a lot for the warmest temperature. We're talking 95 to 97 degree ocean temperatures, which is extraordinarily unusual, and that also extremely heightens the risk of coral bleaching events, which are just underwater catastrophes. It's not confined to just those near-shore areas. The entire North Atlantic Ocean set a record in the month of June for the warmest temperature on record, shattering the old record by about a half a degree Celsius. That is unusual for that expanse of water to be that warm for that long and to break the record by that much. That kind of warmth is reflected in the temperature pattern across the entire country, the entire globe. The global average temperature during the month of June also set a record. So we're back into the atmospheric part of this. Of course, the ocean helps to feed that since the atmosphere and the ocean border each other. Global temperatures in the month.
This is the Bay Area News. And he's covering the whole entire world. They gave him a whole special because he's trying to explain what's going on with the world. Look at this. He brought out a globe.
Thousands of years and kind of fill in the gaps. But daily data, that's what we have over the last 4+ decades. And we are in uncharted territory, and it's something that is unfortunately likely to continue as we head through the rest of this year.
Not stopping.
One of the reasons for that is a developing El Nino. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but I do want to show you just how widespread that warmth has been in the North Atlantic Ocean. On our globe here, we've highlighted abnormally warm ocean surface temperatures, sea surface temperatures, SSTs is what we call them because we love abbreviations in the science world. All the yellow, orange, and red indicates abnormally warm ocean surface temperatures. That's most of the northern half of the Atlantic Ocean, covered with those abnormally warm sea surface temperatures and in record territory beyond that. Of course, the focus for the rest of the year, we pivot to the Pacific Ocean, where that developing El Nino is continuing to strengthen. That stripe right along the equator of a lot of red with some orange kind of bordering it indicates abnormally warm temperatures in places where the ocean water is typically a little bit colder. That's the hallmark signature of El Nino, and it's pretty much locked in that this El Nino event is going to continue into the wintertime months is typically when it peaks. The question is, how strong exactly is it going to become? So we can estimate those values. Again, it's almost a 100% chance that we are going to be in El Nino conditions, defined as being one.
Look at that. So that is it. That's all we need to see on that part. All right. So I'm just showing you. When we woke up, no falling your prophecy though. The world is suffering. And this is just another one. This ain't even, it just keep going on the sidebar. Look at the sidebar. It just keeps going. Look at this. Shocking new Iran wedding drone footage shows moments, before it caught on fire? Iraq. Oh no, I keep saying Iran. Iraq. All right, let's get back to this. Hold on. Oh, did it catch? Yeah, it caught fire. Wow. Ooh, that had to be expensive, right? This has nothing to do with anything. I just saw it on fire. Look at this. They sun sparkles up. And they just dancing. Look at y'all. Ooh, bringing terror to these heathens. Y'all all gonna pay. Look at him. Word, his head on fire. Y'all ain't playing. Y'all is... Look at him. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? Y'all enjoying yourselves. Look at the look of terror. Well, it's gonna smell like bacon in there. Don't get out of there. Oh, look at this. He's finally out and proud. That is two men kissing. Is this more on that venue? Yep. Fair use. Look at him. Look at the terror. Fair use. He's trying to throw water up there. Praise y'all. Oh, they stuck. They better run. Oh, okay. The air system came on. Not air, but whatever it's called to put out the fire. Look, it's knocking them over. And it's not even working. Look at that. Ooh, praise God. Hey, look at the building. Wow. Whoa. It's not a good time to be out here, buying stocks? It's not a good time making fun of them. It's not a good time to be out here, selling life insurances and...
We had 4 separate natural disasters, tallied up billion-dollar price tags on all 4 of these.
Billion-dollar price
2023
tags.
is already a record year for billion-dollar disasters, according to NOAA. And we still have 4 months remaining in the calendar. In the month of August alone, we had 4 separate natural disasters, tallied up billion-dollar price tags on all 4 of these. August 8th, the deadly Lahaina fires that happened. You remember that? Just a tragic situation, wiping out their downtown. Also, the historic Hurricane Idalia, that landfall happening in the Big Bend of Florida. A staggering 23 separate billion-dollar disasters are already in the books. This actually tops the record of 22 that was set back in 2020. So when you start to stack up these, 7 of the disasters, by the way, in 2020 were actually hurricanes. And now here we are just passing the peak of hurricane season, Jason. I know we look back at Idalia, which is one of those disasters that is going to cost a lot, and it's on the billion-dollar disaster list.
Yeah, and part of the reason why is because of people's homes, rebuilding the infrastructure here as well. Now, Idalia hit a sparsely populated area, but the Big Bend hadn't seen a major hurricane in over 120 years. Now, Idalia inflicted major damage on the communities there. Some of the worst hit areas saw feet of storm surge as the storm moved ashore here. I mean, you can notice right there. I mean, look at Perry, Florida there. Not only did they have to deal with all of the rain, but they had to deal with the winds.
Listening to them. The Bible says this, right? Peter 2:3-7. But the same word, the heavens and the earth that now exist are stored up for fire. For what? For fire. All this is global warming. Being kept into the day of judgment and destruction of the ungodly. Of the who? The ungodly. It don't matter. People going, oh man, yeah, you can be who you want to be. You can love who you want to love. You can... Not holding his laws make you ungodly. Not walking in his traditions make you ungodly. Revelations 8:7. It's the end time. And the first angel, what did he do? He blew his trumpet, and there followed hell and fire. What? Hell and fire mixed with blood. And these were thrown upon the earth, and a third of the earth burned up, and a third of the trees burned up, and all green grass burned up. Ooh, a third. And I read somewhere, here you go right here, a third of it. Let's look at the image, right? This is March 2000, all the way up to August 23rd. They quit counting after that. That's how bad it got. This is fire. Y'all ready? Oh. Look at that. To November. Look. We waking up, but it's slowly. But when you get to here, a lot of us start waking up. Look at this. Look at this. Look, at one point, all of it. Look at this. Look. Wow. A third of it, from what I read on here, was on fire. So we're about to wrap this up, man. Ecclesiastes 1:4. A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. They gonna leave, but y'all gonna keep his word. Y'all is going to keep his word. We are going to wrap this up, man. I just felt like I had to touch on this.
Bury me with the greats.
Bury me with the greats.
I'm talking about Bible terms. Yeah. Look. Said it's about to go down. It's a showdown. Prepare now for war now. World War III, this the last round. No call now. They calling people, I won't answer. Rather go sit in that jail. Burn away like I got cancer. Looking at me, yeah, I got the answer. Y'all got us people just know we gon' manage. Make it out of this situation. Regardless of what they do and say, just know that we moving at y'all space. Hey, it keep me safe. I'ma keep maintaining the same. I'ma walk in this lane, talking this grace. Get it through your brain. Tripping on me, no, we not the same. Y'all got us people, you must be insane. If you think you touching me, if you think you touching me, if you think you touching me, you must be insane. Listen your brain if you really think you touching me. If you really think you touching me, I got the strength of Elijah, calling on Samson. Let me wake up King David. I got the strength of Moses. I got the strength of Yahshua. And it's sober to the rest. I am a soldier. I got the strength of Yah. I got the strength of Yah. I got the strength of Yah. I got the armor of Yah. touching me. If you think you touching me. If you think you touching me. If you think you touching me. I got the strength of my ancestors. Strength of my ancestors. Strength of the prophets. Wait, I got the strength of my ancestors. My ancestors. Whoa, got the strength of the prophets. It's over. Psalms 50 and 15. And call on me in your day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you will honor me. I got the strength of Yahuda. I got the strength of Yahuda.